Okay, guys, if you're thinking about buying Tesla today after the big basic drop to the dirt that Tesla went through, you're wrong. Do not buy it now until I explain the 3 points that I'm looking for to be able to buy Tesla. If that sounds like interesting to you, drop a comment in the drop a comment saying Tesla over in the comments, and we'll get going with that. But before we jump into Tesla, let's take a look at what's going on with the rest of the market. As you know, that there we go. There is Tesla. We will come back to that shortly. But I want to jump on first and take a look at the Qs. Now, what I want to look at the Qs for? I want to look at the Qs uh, because the market had a big sell-off today. Uh, you have to ask yourself, was it the hangover from the shutdown? Or is there something more going on? Because this is a significant sell-off today. Hold on just a second. Yeah, it was a huge sell-off today. And so when we're wondering, what the heck's going on with this? And what I always like to do is let's take a look at the underlying. What's going on with the individual indexes? And that's what we'll cover first thing today. And so I want to jump over here to Qs, and then we'll jump to TQQ, then we'll jump to the IWM. Why, you may ask, why aren't you doing the spiders, Dennis? Well, I'm not doing the spiders because the spiders are, uh, they basically emulate a lot of the times what the Qs are doing. So let's take a look at the Qs first. Interesting point of view on the Qs today is they have basically pulled down and have tapped against the just about the 50-day moving average. So is that good or is that bad? Do we basically want to uh, is that do we want to take a buy off of that? Well, kind of like the Tesla chart we'll be taking about look at a little bit later. The answer to that is no. And the reason why I say that is what do we had? We hit a new high, came down and made this hammer low, and then we made a rally attempt. The thing to take away from this is in the rally attempt is it did not get back up and take out that high. And so it's a very weak rally attempt and now has turned back over. We break the 50-day moving average and stand by to stand by. Things will probably head on back down at least to, I'm going to say about there. That's about the 590 level. What does that look like on, excuse me, on the TQQQ? On TQQ, what that looks like is this. We're getting the same kind of move down. This is kind of a two-step, but rather than being a two-step from the downside to the upside, this is a two-step from the upside to the downside. So on TQQQ, what I'm looking at is what is going on with the TSI, the momentum indicator that I use. And some of you had asked previously, what are the settings I use for my TSI? I use 883 on the exponential. Whenever price actions came back up and hit the zero line on the TSI, it has started to fall back down. Next potential target that I'm looking at is down here around the -40. I would love to see it get the momentum get down to -40 because that's where we'll get the healthiest reset. And this is basically, we know that the market has been talking about, or they've been talking about the market selling off for quite some time. And now we're finally getting to see that. And so if you have any questions about that, go ahead and drop it into the chat box. And so, hey, Paul, how you doing? Yeah, Paul, that was the other shoe that dropped today. Paul mentions that now there's only about a 50% chance that we'll see another interest rate cut prior to the end of the year. And that may explain why IWM also is selling off. The sell off on IWM is worse than the sell off on the NASDAQ on the Qs. because price action took out the 50-day moving average, and now it looks like we're heading down. And this is where you can lay in a Fibonacci, but I'm just going to eyeball it. We know we have some support about there, about the 231 level. So I would say build a couple of alerts down there about the let's say 235, not 235, 230 to 230. That's where I would build in my alerts. And would I trade IWM? No, but I'd use those alerts to trigger me in to, or at least get my attention to take a look then at TNA. TNA, similar type situation. Look to your left to find out where we could be finding the a support. And right now it's probably about the 30, at $38 around there down to about $37. So next up, we'll just take a real quick look. They said that gold really did really well today. Well, not if you look at the gold miners. Gold miners, again, rallied down, fell down, rallied up, back and retested, bounced back above. But that is a dark cloud cover on the miners, which is indicating that is a bearish reversal signal. So we'll see where we go from here. We're also going to be covering in today's session, talking about the cryptos a little bit. If you're a crypto trader, don't go away because we're going to talk crypto. I'll cover the top 3 cryptos that I like to watch. And I love doing the technical analysis on crypto because there are so many crypto traders out there that they poo-poo the idea of doing technical analysis. Are you one of those? Just leave a comment that you can't trade crypto by doing technicals. And which is unadulterated BS, guys. So GDX, and then also the semis. The semis actually looking a little bit better than the Nasdaq because we've had a really nice launch up here, but it's pulling back. It's above the 50. So I'll be watching what's going to happen if I get all the way back down to the 50. Are we going to get a bounce? And where will my TSI be? The 3 things I'm always looking for, folks, is I'm looking for support. I'm looking for where we might bounce. I'm looking for a bullish reversal signal, and I'm looking for my momentum to shift back around. One of the questions that came in from our last session, well, do I need to have all 3 of those? And the answer to that is you get the better trades when you do have all 3 of them. At the same time, though, if I have 2 of them in place, and I will sometimes nibble on a position if my TSI is down at a strong reversal zone, because that's oftentimes the last thing that turns around. So that's what we've got going on with that. So are you ready to talk about Tesla? If you're ready to talk about Tesla, just leave a comment, say Tesla, TSLA. Just put it in the comments, and we'll jump onto that. Since I am using a new platform to do this live stream, folks, let me know how the lag is. Let me know how the lag is. Hey, Cody, how you doing, man? Um, I know when I used StreamYard last week, the lag just was horrid. And so I'm interested to find, what's the lag look like with OBS? Because if it's better, I'll go with OBS. Because I look much better on the OBS camera, right? So, okay, hey, well, we got one guy who's interested in looking at Tesla. So let's go ahead and jump on and look at Tesla. Let me make sure I leave enough time to look at the crypto. And so crypto we'll save for last. So Tesla. Oh, absolutely fantastic, beautiful pattern. And here's what I'm looking at is 1, a high here, Didn't quite make it to the all-time high, but I think it's close enough that we made it close enough to call this the a potential double top. And if it is a double top, where's it likely to go? Well, we could just retrace all the way back down to some of these other lines that I've, shown from the past. And I'm looking on the, yeah, I'm on the weekly chart right now. And as you can see, that was really a nice topping pattern, kind of a double top even on the shorter time frame daily chart. Price action started to push down. We have broken through the 50-day moving average. When price actions drop below the 50 on strong volume like we have today, that is a very I don't want that. That is a strong indication that we are probably going further down. And but where? That's the big question on Tesla because I want to invest in Tesla again, or I want to invest in TSLL, the leverage ETF of Tesla. But where? A couple of things we want to do here. I'm gonna bounce out of this real quick and just go into the individual charts. Maybe we'll maximize that. Now here's the daily. I'm going to shift this all the way over to the weekly chart, correction, the monthly chart. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to where we made this low right here, and I'm going to stretch it up to where we made this high right here. Or I could go here. Now I'm going to go from here. So from this low right here to that high, let's go ahead and just draw a real quick Fibonacci on there. And since we're going, looks like we're going to be going down, I'm going to start from the bottom, go to the top, approximately there, and that's my new Fibonacci. Now, I can't see a lot of it right here on the monthly chart. I know that halfway through the month, I have some very interesting situations in that I have a bearish engulfing on the monthly. Well, what does it look like on the weekly? Well, here I have some new levels starting to show up. Price action could get down into what I call the magic fib box, which is right here. And that's where I would look for initially things bouncing and breaking back up. I've highlighted this congestion area here, consolidation area. That was the last time we went into this really significant move or consolidation to break to the upside. One of the things, excuse me, I always want to know is what's the size of of that? Well, that was about a 27% move. So 27% move, that could be very handy for us. But where do we want to, and I'm not going to be buying Tesla until I price actions get down, trigger. So the way I handle this, I put an alert slightly above the 382 percentage Fibonacci retracement, slightly above the 50, and slightly above the 618. If all of these are broken, then I anticipate a pullback all the way down into about the 274 level. And as you can see, that coincides with two things. One, a line that we've had there before, but also it coincides with the 78% retracement. So that's kind of cool that that does that like that. And that shows me that also is a strong level of support. That breaks, we could be picking up Tesla on the cheap down here about 216. So those are my downside targets to be ready to buy Tesla. Any question on Tesla? Do you think it's going to get how far down do you think it's going to get? Just go ahead and drop a number in there in the chat box. How far down do you think it's going to get? So now let's jump. As I promised, I'm going to jump over and really quickly go through what the heck's going on with the what the heck is going on with. I think I have that up there. There we go. With the three um, the three well, cryptos that I like to trade. One is Ethereum. As you can see, really nice run from about March of or April of this year. Excellent run up here to about $5,000. And now we're in the process of selling off. This is again where I draw a Fibonacci from that high to probably this low. And I'd venture to guess that I'm already in a, Fibonacci retracement box. And so I'll just watch this. Note my TSI here is continuing to point down. And so until it start, and it looks like it's going to fall all the way down to this area, and it would hit that approximately, not, I will cover this, it will hit that approximately on about around Thanksgiving, maybe a little bit earlier than that, maybe a little bit after that. The other thing I want to know is the last time it did that for it to get a full reversal, it was from the 10th of March all the way through the 14th or about the 21st of April. So that's approximately about 30 days. So that's the other thing that I measure to know, okay, even after I get my prices down here, I may be in for a wait of 10 to 15 to 20 plus days for it to actually reverse it. And so that helps me be uh, uh, patient and be prepared. So that's one of them. The other one I like to look at is XRP. Similar like situation, XRP lower priced altcoin pulling back all the way in. Is it going to drop all the way down to 178? When I planned my trades on this last year, I basically was buying it about somewhere between 193 and all the way down here. I think the lowest I get in was about 170. Yeah, about 170 or so, which, I'm really pleased with that, where I was doing most of my buys. And I'm still pleased with it because I'm still up on the trade. So what do we want to do here? Right now, not a darn thing. I'll put an alert down here about the 211 area, $2.11. And if I get down there, that's great. That would work for potentially, making a buy. However, what do I need? At support, TSI, swinging down, and then starting to roll back up, and that's my momentum indicator. And I'd like to see a bullish uh, reversal signal on this. Here's a little secret. Sometimes, if you will go to the 2 or 4 hour chart of the cryptos, you'll find some actually better entry opportunities if you're taking your dailies and your weeklies to define the strong levels of support. Bitcoin itself actually reclaimed the $100,000 mark, and that is really a big doji that we're putting in right there, and that looks actually pretty good. Like it's trying. That's a really big indecision day candlestick, and so that. But however, it has not reversed. The TSI has not reversed up, and but it is giving me a positive divergence here, as you see right there. You see that Do you see that positive divergence? I made that low, then I made that low going down, but my low on my TSI was actually going up. So does everybody see that? And and that basically is where I'd be looking at. I'm interested in Bitcoin down here, or after it does its reversal and we have a new uptrend started, I'll look for playing the pullbacks back against the 20-day and 50-day moving average. So, what's your thoughts on Bitcoin? And just put a Y in the comment section. Do you trade a Y or an N? Do you trade Bitcoin? 350 on Cody. You're looking at 350 on Tesla. That may be the upside target. I could see that. Okay. got my phone going on the other side here so I can see all the the the, uh, the information comes in from it a little bit more quickly. All right. Hey, Patrick, glad to see you got back home safely. Awesome. Okay. Okay. Well, that does it for today, guys. I'm going to basically jump over here and just ask one last questions before we bug out. And that question is, do you know what kind of trader you are? If you don't know what kind of trader you are, there's unstructured traders, there's inconsistent traders, there's developing traders, and there's consistent traders. Before the end of the year, I encourage you to take this free quiz. It's a diagnostics. It will tell you exactly what type of trader you are, and then also provide you the opportunity to get the downloadable report on a framework for how you can improve your trading. Great to have prior to going into the end of the year. And if you would like one of these, uh, uh, basically, you can either email me and I will send it to you, or you can, and I think I can. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can put a note here. You can pick this up at da, 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 www.autopilottraders.com forward slash, there you go, forward slash quiz. And again, it is free. I don't ask for anybody's email. I don't ask for anything like that. You get the free basic report, and I encourage you to take it. So I'll say aloha for right now, and we'll call it a day. Join us again next Thursday, 3 o'clock Pacific time. Aloha, and God bless everybody.